Hey everyone, today I've got the Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode 6 Disney Plus review. The big finale is here. So how will this show come to an end? So as far as the story goes, first off, I'm going to say that I may talk about a few spoilers. So if you haven't seen the episode yet, definitely watch this video after you have seen the episode. Picking up slightly where we left off in the last episode, where the GRC was being infiltrated by Carly and her crew, the Flag Smashers, Sam and Bucky are going in to hopefully save the day because they are the last hope since John Walker neglected to be the Captain America everyone hoped that he would be. It felt like this upbeat thriller that led into an awesome fight scene on par with The Dark Knight. I definitely saw a few scenes, a few shots that looked just like what I saw in that movie. I mean, the stunts in general were hot. I mean, I was just so pumped up and excited to see, how they were actually fighting. I mean, the stunt guys definitely did a lot of really awesome work in this episode, and even though Sam was actually wearing a brand spanking new costume, which he received in this secret box, he appears to have some newfound confidence, especially in this new outfit compared to what he was wearing before. It kind of reminded me of Frozone from The Incredibles, or even Static Shock. I mean, I think he looked really good in that red, white, and blue. While the previous episode was titled Truth, which refers to the comic Truth, Red, White, and Black, about Isaiah Bradley, who could have been the first Black Captain America, but unfortunately that didn't happen. And we were, eagerly waiting in anticipation to see if Sam will become the Captain America, the new Captain America, and he's already got the shield, and I think at this juncture he's earned that title. And not just because at one point he looked like this savior angel. I mean, the symbolism was on point in this episode, and at least in that one scene in general, it was like a la Superman from BVS. So as far as the casting goes, Anthony Mackie, I feel like, does something really heroic, and when there are these bystanders just watching on, and I loved how one of them says, "That's the Black Falcon right there," and the other guy next to him was like, "No, that's Captain America." And I had a big huge grin on my face because it couldn't be more accurate with that statement, because he definitely proved, from episode 1 to this moment, that he really earned that title. Even though the show was called Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I feel like this episode really focused on the Falcon over the Winter Soldier. And speaking of whom, Sebastian Stan had some really cool scenes here, like this stunt off of his bike when he helps Sam to fight Carly and the Flag Smashers, and he proves that he can be truly heroic when we need him to be. May even have some unfinished business to take care of later, which was also really nice to see, because at this point you're sort of trying to think, okay, is this going to be the only season of this show? So are we going to need some more closure for the final episode? But it's always open for interpretation later. Carly, I feel like, really pissed me off in this episode, where she just keeps flip-flopping her statements. Like, one time she's saying, as a last resort, we'll kill the hostages, and her crew looks at her like, are you serious? And then when she has this encounter with John Walker, who's still pretty mad about what happened to his buddy that she killed, she's like, I don't want to hurt people that don't matter. I'm like, well, and I thought I used to dislike John Walker, but here in this moment, I really feel like he stood out here, especially in front of her. And comparing the two, I'm Team John Walker. So, how about you guys? Speaking of John Walker, there is this moment where he is tested to choose what his next move is going to be. And all I have to say is, teamwork makes the dream work. And I actually like his new designation that we find out later on in the episode, where he is referred to as U.S. Agent, which is something that Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character Val gives him as this title, and he even dons a new costume as well, which is less blue and more black. And Emily Van Camp's character Sharon was pretty awesome as well, especially when she confronts Carly, and that whole exchange was just really amazing to see these two chicks just go head to head with each other. And it's true, she is the power broker, so if it wasn't obvious enough a few episodes ago, it is now. I would say that the exchange between her and Carly was really intense, and it really felt like Sharon was in charge and trying to get inside Carly's head. And I don't know what Daniel Bruhl's Zemo has planned now because of everything that happened with the Flag Smashers, but it seems like now he's off the chessboard. So the things that I liked about this episode was obviously the cinematography was just really cool to look at. I just love the camera work and the dark color scheme that was used. It just felt so different, but yet it worked for this world. And there are some really beautiful shots in this episode as well. I thought the musical score was also really noticeable as well, having that classic, Marvel sort of theme with the uplifting tone, and it's dark and intense as well, and it got me all excited and on the edge of my seat. They really stepped up their game here and went all out with a bang, and I liked being able to figure out which gadgets the protagonists were using, and I sort of liked how I was treating this more like an interactive episode than anything. When the bad guys were trying to escape, which made the episode more fun to watch, the dialogue was this mix of serious, like they all seem to have this motivation to redeem themselves somehow after the world hurt them, and yet comical, and sometimes people are making jokes with each other and just having a lighthearted laugh. Made me stop and think, like when Sam is talking to the GRC people that he saved and saying, now you know what it feels like to be helpless, and trying to put things into perspective considering the struggles that are greater than anyone even realizes, and the whole world was watching once again. And he also brings up a good point about how he might face scrutiny for taking on the Captain America role, but like Isaiah Bradley, he knows this heavy burden. He believes that people can do better, and hopefully that he is accepted in society. And the pacing was done well because so much went on in the first half of the episode, and I definitely got emotional towards the end as well when Sam shows Isaiah Bradley the Captain America Museum and that whole thing from the first episode, and a section was dedicated to him. I was like, oh, like it actually literally made me cry just even reading the whole plaque about Isaiah Bradley. And also there is a post-credits scene in this episode that shows Sharon facing the senators and getting pardoned and offered the position to return as Agent Carter like her aunt before her, and which she does actually accept, but then she turns the tables and then calls somebody acting like the power broker again. So we'll see where that goes from there in a future show or movie, because you never know, is she going to be a protagonist or an antagonist or anti-hero? Who knows? So overall, I would say that this was an excellent episode. I really did love this series, so I was really surprised by a lot of it, and I was really glad that I enjoyed it, and I think you will too. And it felt bittersweet and left things open for some of the characters to return. for another Marvel project. So I would highly recommend this episode, this series in general, like I said, and I would give this 5 hearts on the heart rate scale. So let me know in the comments what you guys thought of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode 6. And as always, you guys can subscribe to my channel. I've got more movie reviews, movie updates, come back every week for a Chill Thursday video. You guys can also like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter, and I will see you guys later.